Welcome back to another edition of Blueprints and Banter. I'm your host, Steve Cona, and today we are joined by our Vice President of everything here at the chapter, Laura Gross. Laura, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Now, Laura, today we're talking about workforce development, and our chapter is a big workforce development chapter. We offer a lot of workforce training in all different areas and expertise. So let's talk about first, kind of the bread and butter of what we were kind of created for is apprenticeship.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, our apprenticeship program has continued to grow year after year, has obviously faced some challenges with COVID and all of that. And we've had to be flexible and learn how to maneuver those types of situations. But I think that's only helped the program get better because it's made us more flexible. But the program is offered in 10 skilled trades. And what it does is it allows our members and contractors within the industry to put their folks into a registered training program, help them get the skills that they need to be better craftspeople at the end of the day.
Yeah, and for us, COVID was a big deal, right? It really changed kind of our perspective on how we can continue to deliver training. And, if there's anything good that came out of COVID, it was the fact that we were able to become a little bit more flexible and a little bit more nimble. And we've been able to use that to our advantage. Talk about how some of our contractors can actually use our apprenticeship program without having, to send them to class, like to do in-house programs and those types of things.
Yeah, I think that's been a huge benefit to our members. It's allowed our contractor members to utilize the apprenticeship program, but take it completely in-house, which means they are training only their employees and training them in the systems and the manners in which they work. Where if you're sending somebody through what I call the traditional apprenticeship model, where they're going to class, they're in a mix of, in a classroom with a mix of individuals from different companies. Those companies specialize in different verticals and different ways of doing things. But if you can do it in-house, you're really making sure that you're training your people the way that they need to be trained. When they're out on a job site, then they know exactly what they're supposed to do because they've been trained by the company.
Yeah, and the beauty about partnering with ABC on the in-house program is we handle all of the administrative stuff, but they can just work on delivering the training.
When it takes the guesswork out of the instructor side too. So the company isn't taking really on any more burden outside of identifying instructors. They already have a shop, so they've already got the materials and the equipment they need to do the labs, but they're not doing the administration like you mentioned. We're still doing all that. But all of our instructor resources are given to those individuals too. Right. So it's, they're not having to recreate the wheel.
Yeah, no, that's the beauty of it. And let's talk about our traditional programs. And we've been able to be way more flexible. And I know we have some changes coming this year with, doing a lot more labs. We have a brand new lab, our DeWalt lab, our electrical lab in Ybor City. And that's been going gangbusters this year. Talk about some of the changes that we're going to see in apprenticeship next year.
Yeah, and I mean, for those people who don't know, apprenticeship is a big lift for the individuals that are going through the program, but also for the contractor. So previously, apprentices had been coming to school 2 nights a week for 3 hours each night. So that's 6 hours a week that they're giving up of their family time and their personal time to go to school. So this year, we're going to pivot from that and go to a one day a week model for 4 hours each night. And the hope is there that alleviates some of that burden, whether it's childcare, travel, whatever it might be, leaving the job site, where you're not having to take time off of work to get to school. So apprentices will be going to school 1 night a week for 4 hours each night. And because of COVID, we got a little bit more techie when it came to the apprenticeship program. So we added the learning management system, and there'll be a requirement for that on as well. So to do some online supplemental learning. Yeah,
because the key is we still have to do the standard curriculum, which is 122 hours of book work per year, and they still have to get their on-the-job training hours.
Right.
So we're just doing it in a different format.
Yeah, and think about it. Think about how big our region is, right? Or just the Tampa Bay area now with traffic, how long it takes people to get from one side of the bridge to the other. So the other hope is with the 1 night a week, you're not fighting traffic and you're not, getting out of class at 9, but not getting home until 10 or 10:30.
Right.
So yes, it's going to lessen the amount of, or the where people can be located to be in the program. But now if you are in Sarasota and you have to come in person, you're only having to have it due once a week instead of twice.
Yeah, which makes a lot of sense. So the apprenticeship program keeps going. We have a bill in Tallahassee that we believe if it passes this year, it's going to be able to give a lot more resources to the apprenticeship program. So we're excited. Hopefully that bill will pass. We have some very good champions there. But apprenticeships has always been our bread and butter. We have to train the next generation of skilled workers. But let's talk about training the next generation of industry leaders. And let's talk about our NEXGEN program, which I think is going into our 13th or 14th year.
It will be going into our 13th year.
Yeah,
the next
which is
cohort.
crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that we do such a good job of as a chapter is we make sure that workforce development is top to bottom. So we're not only trying to train those people in the field, but we're making sure that we're training, mid-level folks, but also the up-and-coming leaders and of course, C-suite as well. So the NEXGEN program, really, that helps to identify the future leaders in the industry and future leaders within member companies. It's an 8-month program. It's an application, interview, selection process. So it's not just I want to be in it and I'm in it. I mean, you have to go through a pretty rigorous process to get in the program. It's limited in size to 30 individuals, and that group of 30 represents the entire industry. So it's associate members, it could be attorneys or insurance folks, and then we've got our supplier members, we've got subcontractors, and we've got general contractors. But even within those contractor members, it could be their HR person, it could be marketing, it's of course project managers. We've had owners go through NEXGEN. While they are going through NEXGEN, they've been an owner of a company. So it really covers the breadth of the industry.
Yeah, and let's talk about why we keep it to like 30-ish people, because I think, it's a big application process. We'll probably get 70 to 80 applicants, but I think keeping it to 30. I mean, what's the challenge with that, or what's the benefit of having a smaller group?
Yeah, I mean, the challenge is, of course, we have more than 30 applicants that are fit for the program. The reason and the benefit we keep it to 30 is, and you talked about it on another podcast episode, is this industry is completely relationship driven. And when you have a smaller group like that of 30 people, it's a lot easier to build that cohesion and that network instead of having a group of 75 or 80 in a class. The best thing about NEXGEN, having seen so many groups go through it, and then where they go after NEXGEN, is really those relationships they build, and then what transpires from those relationships. So companies that haven't worked together in a long time start working together again. You go through the program, and maybe in a year you run into an insurance issue and you don't know where to go, but you remember Johnny from NEXGEN, who was an insurance agent, and you can reach out to them on a personal basis and get that information. So I think I don't imagine there's one person who's ever gone through NEXGEN that says it wasn't beneficial for them.
Right. Let's talk about the ideal candidate. So we have a lot of companies out there watching this, and they're like, well, I think this person would be good. What do you think is the ideal candidate for NEXGEN?
Yeah, and that's a tough question to answer, because I don't think that person fits into a box. But number one, I think the biggest thing would be somebody who wants to grow in the industry would be the first person you'd want to look at. This program is really going to help them learn more about the industry, the ins and outs, the things outside of what they do day to day. So somebody who wants to grow, wants to remain in the industry, somebody who already has decision-making ability at the company. That doesn't necessarily mean they have to be a manager, but that they are able to make day-to-day decisions, and somebody that the company feels is the next leader within their organization.
Yeah, and we've seen it. NEXGEN is kind of a stepping stone to our board. I think we have,
10 or 12,
maybe? Yeah, more than half of our board are
NEXGEN.
NEXGEN graduates, which is what we designed the program to be, because we want people to be well-rounded and understand not only what ABC does, but how the industry affects the community that they serve. And I think it's been a very valuable asset to the association. And I think we've helped the industry, but the industry has really helped us grow our footprint of leaders as well.
Absolutely. And, I always tell people when they start NEXGEN, you know what you know, and NEXGEN really helps you learn the things that you don't know and how all of those things work together for us to get work done. A lot, we spent a whole day talking about politics, and I would say 80% of the class doesn't understand how politics affects construction. When we do the law day, everybody's not reading contracts or talking through insurance or bonding, but it helps open their eyes to that, which then makes them a better leader. And it gives the member company a better employee as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. So we talked about apprenticeship, we talked about NEXGEN. Let's talk about the other offerings that we have, especially on the safety side and the total human health side. Like, we're really investing in those types of trainings. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, obviously safety is paramount, and it should be at the forefront of every company's day-to-day responsibilities and their requirements. So we have the ability to offer almost any safety training that a company would need. Of course, you've got OSHA 10 and 30, CPR, fall protection, all that good stuff. But there's been a big shift in the industry to focus on that total human health. So not just what's required or what's the hot button issue, but really mental health has been a big focus over the last few years, and that's been something that we've been able to implement and offer here. So we can do suicide prevention training where companies can send folks through to be able to have those difficult conversations or notice the warning signs of somebody who might need assistance and then what to do and how to help them.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, we want all of our people to go home, and that's not just a matter of, yeah, of course, getting injured by a tool or a piece of equipment, but also their home life and their mental state is so important.
Right. And obviously with all the labor shortages that we have, every person in our company is a valuable asset, and an asset that needs to be taken care of. And I like the fact that ABC is invested in the total human health and really talking about, let's make sure that this person not only is safe on the job site, but also, safe elsewhere, and he's mentally prepared, and he has a good home life, because we really care about the whole person.
And I think that's the biggest difference in the last 5 years is not just, being safe on the job site, but work-life balance and making sure that it's a tough industry right now. We don't have enough people. There's a ton of work going on. So people are working multiple hours a day, and that can obviously wane on someone and stress people out. And so you have to have resources for your employees. They're also then going to feel more valued, and it's going to help you retain those people as well.
Yep. No, for sure. And I think one of the things that I want to make sure people know out there is, how do they get a hold of us? Like if they have an idea or they are in need of some sort of training, what's the best way to contact us to?
Just call the office. We have so many resources available. We're constantly offering training to our members. And it's helpful, of course, when members ask for something, because then we know what they need. But if there isn't something that you see on the calendar, if they just call the office, we're happy to put them in touch with the right person and make sure that they get what they need for their employees.
Yep. Trying to think, anything else that I'm missing as far as what we do from a training perspective that we haven't really covered?
I think our young professionals group has also been...
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Has been very, very beneficial.
How's that different than NEXGEN?
It's different than NEXGEN because it's not an application process. We don't do, obviously NEXGEN is an all-day session where you're really going over industry content. The Young Professionals group helps you build your network.
Right.
So a lot of the individuals in that group, they either are new to construction or new to their company, maybe new to the market, but they're definitely new to networking. And so having the Young Professional specific events where you are at an event with people in a similar place of life, a similar place in your career, those bonds are easier to make. And then when you go to membership appreciation or the GC tabletop, and there's hundreds and hundreds of ABC members there, you've had the practice of networking, but you also have familiar faces in the room. Same though with NEXGEN, I think the relationships that have come out of that have been really special to watch. It's been nice to see people grow. And we don't just do networking. The Young Professionals do volunteer give backs. We do job site tours, and we do professional development specifically for that age group as well.
How does somebody get involved with the YPs?
On the website, we have a form, and our Young Professionals group operates in Tampa and also down in Fort Myers. So if a company's got, people in both regions, we have an option to make sure that your folks have somewhere to get plugged in.
And they can attend multiple
They can attend any of them.
Yeah.
Yep, they can attend any YP event.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think growing the industry, making sure that all of the people who are working on job sites have the ability to network and flourish and learn from each other. I think we got almost everything covered, but there's always going to be more out there. The way things change in our industry. One thing I wanted to talk about is we have our second annual Tech and Safety Conference coming up, and it was really well attended last year. Any idea of what we're going to try to do this year?
I think we're just going to try to make it better, as Scott Cox would say, just more.
More.
We're gonna do more. I think that having both safety and technology cross over so much. So I think focusing on both topics was a huge hit. We had some really great panels. We had some really great tech demos. So I anticipate more of the same, more education and just making sure that everybody knows what the options are to either make their company more efficient or make their company safer.
Yep. So I think we're hitting it on all cylinders. I think if you have anything that you want us to do as far as the education, what we're not doing, what we're doing, please let us know. We thank you guys for joining us at this podcast. We thank all of our sponsors who you'll see on the screen. Like or subscribe to the podcast. We want to bring you as much content as we possibly can, but thanks for joining us today. Laura, thank you.
Thank you.
And we look forward to seeing you next time.